Good morning, Professor Dr. Soni and my fellow classmates. Today I'm going to present about the domain name system or DNS for short. Before we move on to determine the topics, let me explain to you two scenarios that we need to visualize first so that we can easily understand DNS or domain name system. First view, we as a human have some limitations. This limitation can be determined by our ability to maintain data and to store data in our memory. The ability to store information is varies. Most people have very little memory capacity when it comes to numbers. These limitations can be created problem and has created problem actually with the human ability to fully communicate with most of the people. So another scenario, I think some of us have experienced using phone books or yellow pages. So due to the landline phone was used at the peak in the early 1980s and the late 1990s. During this time, people communicate with each other by dialing 6-digit number or even 12-digit numbers. Such a system exists because of the connections that was can be only established by using number. So I give an example when a person needs to find some certain people or companies to get information or service. First, they need to find these yellow pages first, which is contain all the details that we needed, especially the numbers or the telephone numbers. So what we will do, if we will start to flip the pages to find the people's and the numbers according to the um, areas that have been designated, so such as in Kuala Lumpur. So we have to flip the pages to the area which is stated the place and the landline, which we will lately after that we can get the numbers or information. For the common man, the domain name system, it's really function as to provide uh, an address and a locations of the name that you are looking for. For an example, when a client searches a specific name in a search engine or browser, such as an icall.com, the DNS system will provide the client with the locations of the search name, which is a computer system operate in numerical order. Such computer system has its own IP address. To understand in details, we need to know what is IP address actually. This is an internet protocol address that we call IP, internet protocol. So it only works with numerical order. The IP address cannot receive data in alphabetical order. So due to this number system, it became necessary to solve the problem of individual ability to remember the numbers. To solve this problem, DNS took responsibility for interrupted connections actually. My presentation will focus on several subtopics listed in the content. Let's understand the system better. What is domain name system? The domain name system is decentralized, hierarchically naming system by computers, service, or other resources that we are connected to the internet or a private network. In a layman understanding, it is a phone book or yellow pages. It contains all the data that is stored on the server, which associate various information with the domain names assigned to each of the participating entities. It is best known for its easier translation of store domain name to the numeric IP address necessary to locate and identify the computing service and device that use the underlying network protocols. Providing a worldwide distributed directory service, the domain name system has been an essential part of Internet functionality since 1985. Let me see who maintains domain name system. The domain name system is maintained by distributed database system, which actually uses a client-server model. The nodes in this database are name servers. Every domain name system has at least one official DNS server that publishes information about that domain, and the name servers of any domain are subordinate to it. The domain name system is hierarchically system, and at the top of the hierarchy is the DNS root zone. IANN DNS manages the root zone with oversight provided by ICANN. By managing the data root zone file to the root name server, for our broad view of the management and operational structure of DNS, let's take a look at the DNS diagram. Once the client call, which is here we stated that medium.com, so the desired item is directed to the internal DNS server. This internal DNS server makes a call or search the root level domain server to identify the host server. The root connects to the top level domain server to identify .com or .org or .gov, whatever that we are searching for. This high-level domain then links to the second-level domain server, which finds the IP address of the middle or medium.com. This information is then sent to the internal DNS server. Finally, customers have a specific locations or web page or website they are looking for. DNS is just as important in any other internet application. The system provides access to the address that gives the client the right to explore the content on the website or any other virtual platform. Such access entails manipulating information or content from unauthorized elements such as hackers or fraudsters. Why it is important? Why DNS important for cyber law? The application of a cyber law is relevant in reality, and DNS has provided a great opportunity to protect itself from an actual act of economic crime. Why do I say economic crime? My brothers and sisters, let us see why DNS is relevant in the reality of cyber law. The main concern in DNS is intellectual property violation. Intellectual property can be divided into several distinctions such as trademark, copyright, patent. For this, let's narrow down the most important part of intellectual property, which is cyber squatting. Cyber squatting is a process of registering a trademark as a domain name and trading it with the intentions of making a profit. A trademark can only be registered as a domain name by the owner if it is related to cyber squatting. This violates the fundamental rights of the owner to use the trademark. So, how about these trademark violations happen? The domain name is the Internet Protocol address assigned specifically to the same computer for the Internet. Once this IP address matches the business name, or it becomes an available asset. For an example, when an IP address is changed to 192.160.130 or puma.com, it takes us to a whole new world that includes customers' identifications and loyalty to a brand or trademark. This relation with the trademark makes the domain name as a beneficial tool. For our observation, there's two cases which are related for IP or violation, intellectual property violations in Malaysia. In the case of Sam Darby Berhad, Malaysia, it was stated Sam Darby Berhad versus Mr. Sim E. Darby. It stated the case been subjected to the Sam Darby Berhad when Mr. Sim registered samdarby.com in the preview of getting profit from Sam Darby. So it's actually infringed the intellectual property right. So the second case is that the Petroleum National Berhad or Ku Ni Kiong. So in this case, the Malaysian court decided, among others, is that cyber squirting is regarded as a passing off. So these two cases gives us understanding how important the DNS or domain name system actually is in view of cyber law. So as in conclusions, domain name system is a very much relevant to cyber law because it is a vital system to define the internet platform in reality. The second is that domain name system is the main evidence to track any criminal activity or any other breach in law that been committed by the people. For that, I like to say thank you for listening to my presentations about the domain name system. And as a reference that I've made, there's three articles that I've mainly focused, and that is cyber squatting and some legal concerns surrounding corporate website done by our beloved Professor Soni Zulhuda. The second one is DNS abuse handling, and third one is development of the domain name system. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.